Nah. Oh, 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 hey guys. Hey guys, Bios and Ramos, and today we are talking some Miami Dolphins football. It's finally here. Season opener. We're playing against the New England Patriots on Sunday, September 13th at 1 o'clock p.m. in Foxborough, Massachusetts at Gillette Stadium. Now, let's get into it. So, whoo! It's been a long off season. A lot has gone on from the last time I spoke to you guys. It was training camp, and then I just released the week one game predictions, like who we think is gonna win and stuff like that. Game picks, and with my three new co-hosts, Bryson, Eddie, and Christopher. And it was pretty good. It felt good to be back in talking about football, and like it's right there. And I don't know about you guys, but if you watched that Kansas City Houston game, it was a doozy. No, I'm kidding. It was pretty bad. Houston tried fighting back very late, and like I said, like they were gonna be trailing, and they were gonna be trying to come back at the very last second, but it wasn't enough. But I mean, it's not like I'm a psychic or anything, you know. But yes, let's get into the topic of discussion: Dolphins, Patriots, and man, oh man, what an offseason has been. There's been a lot going on since the last two or three of my videos. Coronavirus, social injustice, all this other stuff. You know, it's a lot going on in the U.S. and you know, it's something that hasn't really been happened before, and everyone's kind of taking it how they will. Me, as of late, I've been very busy with school. Sometimes I'll get bombarded since my classes change each month. I get bombarded with a lot of work one month, and then the next month it's not that much work, but I have a lot of classes, so then it kind of comes back together. But I'm still going to try and come out with videos like I normally did. A video before the game, which this one is a pregame video, and then post-game video, obviously giving you my reaction, outtakes, what the team needs to do moving forward, and then the game picks. And then I also do Tool Bags Up podcast. I jump on there, do some football talk. Lately, we've been doing a lot of fantasy football. Fortunately, last week I could not make it to the episode. But I still want you guys to check out their stuff. It's very interesting what the guys have to say there. Sebastian, Mikey, JT, and sometimes we have some filling guests. Like for me, we had a filling guest because I was absent, and I think JT was absent too. But let's get into the game. Now, like I was doing this a lot last year, and it was giving you guys pretty much what ESPN's saying of the matchup predictor. Matchup predictor has the Dolphins at 29.9% chance of winning this game, a tie at 0.02%, and the Patriots at 69.9% of chance of winning. Wow, they did not see what the Dolphins did this offseason? I don't think they did. Anyways, let's continue with the odds, and this time we're going to go into betting stuff. I don't know if you guys like to bet, but it's interesting for me to bring this up just in case any of you guys watching do that. So, the spread is in New England's favor at New England -7, Dolphins +7, money line, Dolphins +260, and then Patriots -320. Over under is at 42. And if you guys watched the game picks, I did my game scores for that one. I'm always going to do game scores for the Dolphins. And then three other games that we find interesting. But I had the over under 42 and Dolphins having 27, Patriots having 21. That's an easy over. I don't think necessarily it might be that score, but I do think it's going to come down to a field goal or a touchdown to separate either one of these teams. Now, let's talk about some injuries, and then I'll talk about both teams. So, injuries. We have Clayton Fejeldum. I probably butchered his name, but he's a safety for the Dolphins. He's mainly a special teams specialist, and he is a special teams captain for the Dolphins. This year, we have 8 captains, and like every other team has 8 captains, and we also have 4 additional practice squad spots. So, obviously, in a year like no other, like 2020, with the whole coronavirus stuff, there is a lot of panic in the sense of, all right, we need to have these escape routes if things do happen. Like, if someone does get COVID, we got to have extra spots for them. And so the NFL thought about that and ended up doing that. So it's very good. A lot more guys who may or have not gotten on a roster and may have not even had the chance to get on a practice squad are now practice squad players, and that's very fortunate for a lot of players around the league. So gives a lot of teams more chances to look at them, and yeah, it's very good to hear. So let's talk about the Patriots injuries. They have Dalton Nee, tight end, who is questionable. Then N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, questionable. Cash Maluia, probably butchered his name too, linebacker, questionable. And then Gunnar Olszewski, I'm pretty sure I got that one right, wide receiver. He's on the injured reserve for the Patriots. So 3 players listed as questionable for the Patriots, tight end, wide receiver, linebacker. And Dolphins just have a safety who was not even a starter, but still sucks to see the guy not out there. So now I want to jump into the depth, and then I'll talk about why and how maybe the Dolphins could win this game, or maybe why the Patriots would win this game. More likely the Dolphins. But depth chart. Obviously, Tua is not starting. Yes, the almighty Tua Tagovailoa is actually his special Tua is airing today. I think it already aired by the time I recorded this. But so Ryan Fitzpatrick is our starter at QB. Following him is Tua Tagovailoa, and you're asking about what about Josh Rosen? We got rid of him. Couldn't find any suitors, and they probably saw it as better to save some money and release him, so they didn't have to pay him like $2 or $3 million, I think it was. And now he's on the practice squad for Tampa Bay Buccaneers with good old pal Tom Brady. Everyone in the AFC East favorite quarterback ever. So running back depth. We have Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, Myles Gaskin, Patrick Laird. No more Kalen Ballage. We were going to release him, and then Jets stepped in. Adam Gase was just like, oh, let me get back my little toy. Well, seems like he didn't want to play for them, or he was actually hurt. He did not pass his physical, and trade fell through. Whatever. We were getting rid of him anyways. Now, wide receivers, we have obviously Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Jakeem Grant, but then following them on the depth chart is Isaiah Ford, Mac Collins, Malcolm Perry, and Lynn Bolden Jr. You're asking about Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns. They have opted out for the 2020 season. They did the COVID-19 opt-out, and they will not be playing. Those are the only 2 players the Dolphins had opt-out, which is good for the Dolphins. And it sucks to see those 2 guys not be on the field for the Dolphins. It would have added so much depth for our wide receiver room. But it gives chances for players like Isaiah Ford, Matt Collins, Malcolm Perry, and Lynn Bolden Jr. to do something in the NFL. Get some snaps, get some plays in, and I'm very optimistic about these younger guys actually, somewhat making a difference for our offense. Now when we look at tight ends, we have Mike Gesicki, Darren Smythe, and Adam Shaheen. Adam Shaheen was traded from Chicago. And then now let's get to the offensive line. We have Austin Jackson, and then following him is Julian Davenport at the left tackle position. Left guard, Eric Flowers. Center, Ted Karras from the Patriots that we signed this offseason. And Eric Flowers, former graduate, former first rounder with the Giants, didn't make it out there. Went to the Redskins, did some good, and then he went to the Dolphins. Michael Dieter, we drafted him last year. He's behind Ted Karras at the center position, and he's also backup left guard, but obviously here they only have him listed at 1 spot. Right guard, Solomon Kinley, and then behind him, Adam Pankey. Solomon Kinley and Austin Jackson we drafted in the first, Austin Jackson we drafted in the first round. Solomon Kinley, I think we drafted him in the 3rd round. And then right tackle, Jesse Davis. Following him is Robert Hunt, another draftee from the Dolphins. And I think Robert Hunt is going to be a little bit more of a project guy to see how we can fit him into this offensive line. But, somewhere has to get there. Now, when we go to the defense, our starting defensive end on the left side, Christian Wilkins. Following him, Zach Steeler. And then nose tackle, Devon Godshell. And then after him, Raekwon Davis, which is... So far, in camp, a lot of smiles from Flores looking at Raekwon Davis, and it's good to see that a draftee is impressing the coach a lot. Now, at the right end, we have Emmanuel Ogbah and Jason Stowbridge, another draftee, and Jonathan Ledbetter. He was on the team, but I think he may be out. it looks like he's out, but I'm not sure if it's for COVID reasons. Now, we have outside linebacker Shaq Lawson. He's more of a rusher, seriously. But where we have him positioned, outside linebacker. Behind him, we have Andrew Van Ginkel. And you ask about Vince Beagle, he is out. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he ruptured his Achilles, which is so unfortunate, man. Like, he had such a great season last year, and it sucks to see him not out there on the field. But we have a lot of depth, fortunately, this year. Like, if it was last year, it would have sucked so bad. But at least this year, we're in a better position to, unfortunately, lose a guy like Vince. And then other outside linebacker, inner linebacker, we have Elandon Roberts and Calvin Munson. And other inside linebacker, we have Jerome Baker and Cameron Gruger-Hill. So Elandon Roberts and Cameron Gruger-Hill signed in the offseason. And asking about Raekwon McMillan, he is gone. We traded him to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then when we look at the other outside linebackers, we have Kyle Van Noy and Sam McGuavin. So Kyle Van Noy, obviously part of the Patriots in the previous years, so we signed him. And second oldest guy on the team, and Jerome Baker makes fun of him every time about it. Next, when we go to the cornerbacks, premier position for our team here, we have Xavier Howard at the one spot, and then Byron Jones, Nick Needham, Noah Igbenogany, Jamal Perry. So that makes up our corners. Now the rest of our secondary, strong safety, we have Eric Rowe, and then Clayton. I'm not going to even say his last name because I'm going to mess it up. But then free safety, we have Bobby McCain, Kavon Fraser, and Brandon Jones, third-round pick Brandon Jones. Unfortunately, he did not crack the 2 spot, but I do expect him to see him play sometime on the fields this year. I want to see what he can really do for this team, but definitely he was more of a pick for development as well, like kind of like how Robert Hunt is in right now. But it's always good to see development. Now, obviously, place kicker, we have Jason Sanders, and then punter, we have Matt Hack, and that makes up about the depth chart of the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into the depth chart of the Patriots, but they do have a new addition following the loss of one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Cam Newton signed with the Patriots this offseason, and no one gave a chance on him. Carolina, his old team, didn't even want him, but getting into the reasons I think the Dolphins could win or could lose this game. He is one of those deciding factors. Now, if you really, 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 really want to win this game, we have to contain Cam Newton and not let him beat us with his legs. Doesn't mean he's running outside of the pocket and running upfield every time, but limiting him escaping the pocket. If we can keep him contained in the pocket, make him beat us with his arm, which I doubt he could do. No hate, slander on Cam Newton. It's just I doubt he could beat us with his arm. Sorry about that. Some settings on my camera kind of made me think that it was messed up. But going back to Cam Newton, don't want him to beat us with his legs. You don't want him to escape, make an extra play that probably wasn't even designed. You want him to read wrong defenses and make bad throws. You don't want him to extend the play and possibly find someone who probably broke the coverage, stuff like that. So getting to the quarterback is going to be key number 1 defensively for the Dolphins. Now, the Patriots love their running backs. Love them. So, stopping the run. Last year, we were one of the worst teams in stopping the run, and I hope this year is not a year that we are worse. I expect us to get better with a lot of the additions we had in free agency, obviously in the draft. So these are the things that I feel like we need to, do better. But there's always room for improvement, and I think this year will be a year of improvement on those run stopping. We have a lot of more depth in the defensive linebackers position. Now, there's not much else on the defensive side of the ball because I don't feel like the Patriots have enough weapons in the passing game to really hurt us. So that's good, I guess you can say. But for the offensive side of the Dolphins, now the Patriots have had 8 players opt out this season, and I think that's probably the most in the NFL. If quote me if I'm wrong, but I think they have no Dante Hightower, which is one of the best defenders, and then they have no Logan Ryan, who I believe he was on the Patriots last year. I mean on the Titans last year, and then signed over the Patriots, but then was like, nah, I'm not gonna play because of COVID. Found that kind of funny, but everyone has their reasons, so can't really hate or discuss on that. But definitely the Dolphins need to get started early. We can't just, especially if whoever starts off the ball, we need to stop them and not let them score with the first possession. Or if we get the ball first, we need to start off with the possession and get points. Doesn't matter if field goal, a touchdown, we need points. Okay. Now, how are we gonna get those points? You ask. Well, our new offensive coordinator Shaq Lawson is very familiar with our starting quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. A lot of years between the two in Buffalo and the New York Jets, and now back here in Miami. And that's why I feel like it's very good for the familiarity for Fitzpatrick to have success with the Dolphins. He did very good last year, ended up being our leading rusher, which was insane. And then, he did good. He wasn't the best quarterback. He wasn't getting a ton of yards or anything like that. But he did enough in those last couple games to show, hey, I'm not a bad quarterback. And after his first couple games, his first couple blowouts, everyone was calling for his head and screaming, "We want Rosen." And, hopefully that doesn't happen again this year if we want Tua. Obviously, everyone's excited for Tua. But Tua needs time to learn. He needs time to understand how the NFL works. If you guys didn't watch on Thursday, that guy didn't even play almost his entire rookie year. He played the last game, and that was all the playing time he got his rookie year. And look how great he is now. He didn't even know how to read a defense his MVP season. So, the developmental process needs to happen at its own pace for everybody. And Tua is obviously very good, but, the coaches didn't put him starting for a reason. One, they don't want to risk him getting hurt. And then two, they don't want to risk him playing so bad and being discouraged. Oh my God, the next game I go out and I don't want to do 2 picks again. I don't want to fumble the ball. I don't want to get hurt so bad. So you gotta let him come to his own process. But I believe he will hit the field this year, and I believe it'll be more than 1-2 games. So just for that scenario, just be patient. But going back to Shaq Lawson and Ryan Fitzpatrick, they're familiar with each other. So Fitzpatrick understands the offense very well, and we need to run the ball very well. A lot of running is good in this offensive system that they're trying to in place. But having, a powerful back like Jordan Howard and having a speedy back like Matt Breida is so good for the Dolphins. Now, when it comes to, the passing game, I don't think it's going to be super good. But hopefully this year we could have a full healthy year from Preston Williams, given last year was his first year in the NFL, but unfortunately he tore his ACL. But he's back from it. And Devontae Parker had a first real good season in the NFL. Hopefully he can build on that. Mike Gesicki started coming up. He had a better season than the ones before he had. So a lot of development has been happening and is still to be happening. Now, running, passing, normal stuff you do in a football game. What doesn't get talked about is the alignment and their blocking. So in order to have a good running and passing game, you need to also have a decent enough O-line to give your quarterback or your running back enough time to make the necessary plays, to make big plays, first down plays, anything like that, touchdowns. It is what it is, right? So let's see how Austin Jackson, Eric Flowers, Ted Karras, Saul McKinley, and Jesse Davis hold up this first game. If they can hold enough against the defense of the Patriots, that'll be well enough for the Dolphins to get the win. I feel that in this moment we're offensively better. Now, a lot of people are trashing on the Patriots, thinking that they're not going to do good. That's not the case for me. I don't think they're going to win this game, but I do possibly think, if the Dolphins win this game, more than likely later on in the season when we play the Patriots in Miami, they might leave the Hard Rock Stadium with a W. And it's unfortunate to think that way, but it's the Patriots, and it's Bill Belichick as a head coach and Cam Newton at quarterback. So I'm expecting them to have a good team and put something good together. So having that in mind, it's not me being a horrible Dolphins fan. It's just me being realistic. It's one of the best coaches in the NFL, and Brian Flores learned from that best coach in the NFL. So hopefully he can implement a lot of things that he's learned from Bill Belichick into ways of beating him. And I don't know if you guys recall last year, we were the team who beat them last besides the Titans, and we beat them at home. They were trying to lock up a number 2 spot for home field advantage of the playoffs, and Dolphins secured the bag. Got a pick on Brady. Eric Rowe took pick 6, and then later on in that game, we had Ryan Fitzpatrick throw a beautiful touchdown to Mike Gesicki within the final couple minutes of the fourth quarter. So, yeah, Dolphins weren't really fighting anything but for pride, and they showed their pride. Especially after getting demolished by the Patriots in week 2. They're like, all right, we're not the same team you played earlier. And that's one of my kind of goals for this season. Like, you might think one thing of a team starting off the season, and their perception is going to be so much different. Because last year, everyone thought the Dolphins were going to tank for Tua. And obviously, we ended up getting Tua, whatever. But we didn't, lose. We didn't even have the first pick. We had the 5th pick. We won 5 games, and a lot of those games people didn't expect us to win. Beat the Jets, beat the Colts. I forgot what other teams we beat, to be honest. I know we beat the Patriots, but we beat the Eagles. Can't remember the 5th one. We almost beat the Bills. We were in games. Early on in the year, we got demolished. We got the, beat out of us. But, take this game with a grain of salt. Do not think that, all right, if the Dolphins win this game, they're the best team ever. And don't think if they lose, they're the worst team ever, because that's not the case. Teams change and develop throughout the season, just like everyone develops throughout time. So don't let this one game decide your perception of this team, Patriots, or any other team in the NFL. Definitely give that a little bit of time. But besides that, I think the Dolphins are going to win. I gave you guys my reasons why we gotta run the ball well, and we gotta throw it good. We gotta protect Fitzpatrick, and we gotta get to Cam Newton. Get to Cam Newton. I feel like he'll neutralize the offense if you get to Cam Newton, but he's not an easy guy to bring down. So fair enough if we can't get to him. But I expect this defense. A lot of has been invested through defense, free agency, and obviously some draft picks. But we invested a lot all over the field, and it's time to see that pay off, and I'm hoping the Dolphins could start off the year with a nice big W. That'd be great. Otherwise, it would suck. But, it's only week 1. This is the first game of the year, first game that everyone's playing. I know a lot of teams have had their scrimmages and stuff like that, but this is the first game and it counts. This is the first possession is like your preseason, guys. Like, you can't, one play and that's it. You got to take it very serious, because this all counts. This goes against your record. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have not done it yet, I want you guys to check out my game picks for this week with Chris, Bryson, and Eddie. And then also check Tool Bags Up podcast, where I join Sebastian, Mikey, JT, and sometimes we have Drew fill in for us whenever some of us are out. And I was out last episode, unfortunately, but we've been doing fantasy football, and we give you some tips and tricks there on what you should be doing, who you should be starting, who you should be benching, all that good stuff. You gotta watch it to see it. And we're going live at 12:30. Just to give a little bit more info, definitely gonna hop on that, especially since I didn't join last week's episode. But that's about it. I've been writing for 305 Sports, a new site for me, and mainly covering Dolphins there, but may branch out into other subjects. So that's still in the works. So I'll tell you guys more about that if that does happen. But yeah, I've been pretty busy. So excuse me for not getting a lot of videos out to you guys. I hope you guys can understand. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a nice thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And lastly, fins up.